So part of the thing I did a few years ago, I don't know if I've told you, we talked about this, about John Patitucci really changing the way I played. Okay, so for anyone who's watching now and hasn't heard the story, I was at John's house and we were playing around and he handed me this bass that had just been made for him, like basically the bass he plays now. If you're familiar with John Patitucci, with the F holes, and it's this acoustic bass guitar.
It's from Yamaha? Or,
it's from Yamaha,
yeah,
exactly. And he handed me like this prototype and he had just got it, he handed it to me, and I picked up the bass and I went... And I tried to do my thing and I couldn't play a single note on it. And I said, John, what? No. And I handed it back to him and he went, beautiful, just singing like a violin. And it was, the action was massive. John plays with action like an acoustic bass. It's huge. And we talked about, I mean, really briefly, 30 seconds. He just said, yeah, maybe you should think about raising your action a little bit. And that really hit me, the difference between his physical ability and sonic range with the hands. And I went home and I literally took my bridge tool. I have nothing about setting up the instrument, and just raised like a quarter of a turn, the bridge.
Okay.
And then practiced for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Really just, really fundamental, systematic practice, sequential practice, and then 6 weeks, another quarter of a turn. Just a quarter of a turn on the screw. Until I had this action kind of like John's. This is a little less. I do feel the action is a little low for me right now and I'm working on building it up. But what that did for me over the course of almost 2 years was create this sound and create this bigger range, and back to your point of going to play other people's instruments, an ability to play anything. Yeah. Action-wise. I still get a little stressed out if it's a long, like a 34, 35, 36 scale. That's just my shoulder. I don't know, I'm maybe just getting old. I don't want to work that hard. The head diving kind of vibe. I'm a little more sensitive to that, but the action thing, not at all. Yeah. And that was huge. And that was, not being sensitive to it was a byproduct of working on my own action, working on my own sound, which I highly recommend to a lot of people. I was a big proponent of low action and crank the amp for a long time.
So what do you think is the difference, besides that the string gets more movement?
Well, you're just forced to, I think about things in a different way. It takes more physical strength, but basic physics. If you look at it like that, it takes more physical strength to actually make a note and project tone and create a sound, which again is like putting a pedal on or playing a different instrument. It's like, so maybe I'm a little more careful about my choices. Maybe I'm running a marathon and in mile number 9, I don't want to sprint for 10 minutes because by mile 14, I'm dead. Almost like that, like on a purely physical thing, you could look at it that way. And then it was just an increase in range. And I suddenly started to hear things in my own music and just hear things musically in general that I'd never heard before and didn't realize I was capable of producing. So it changed my sound almost immediately. By the time I was in the 3rd or 4th iteration of raising the action very slightly, it was really opening up this Pandora's box of things. It was just like, where has this been the last 20 years,
So you can't go back to the low action.
It's very, very hard. Like I pick up a bass that I haven't, I've got a lot of basses and I haven't raised all the actions yet. I pick up one, I'm like, clunk, 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 clunk. Now I'm having the same problem I had with John's bass, but with a low action, So that huge turning point in my life, for sure.
So I guess one of the points is just experimenting also with your setup.
Yeah.
So what does it do to you?
Look, here's the thing. Like, if you ever get to the point where you think, okay, I'm okay now. I've done enough. Yeah. Or there's nothing more to look at, or I don't know what I should look at. This is the point I would hate to get to, because there are just so many more things to think about than we could possibly ever conceive ourselves. So it's always great to have an open mind, to be, and really this thing with John didn't even know that he had done that to me. I mentioned it in a Bass Player magazine interview, and he read it and he's like, emailed me, he's like, no, like that? He didn't even, it was that insignificant and that quick, but it's those tiny things. If you grab them in the right moment and you're open-minded, you keep your ears open and your mouth shut, like you're generally not learning very much when your lips are moving. I like that, it's like if your ears are open, your mouth is shut, and you are asking questions in the right places and taking everything on board, this is huge. And little things like that can be life-changing. So I'm always trying to keep an open mind. It's not always possible. We're humans, after all.
Yeah. There's a certain locks and doors that you need to open. And
some of them are really complicated.
Oh, yeah. And also, I guess, just to accept what's in it for today.
Yeah.
You know.